Hello, welcome. It's the newspaper review, and yes, today we are on the streets of Port Harcourt. So if you live in Port Harcourt, yes, you might see us somewhere around your neighborhood. So do well to be a part of the newspaper review on TAP TV. So this time we're beginning this remaining quarter of the year by going to the street to talk to people about their opinions as regards the headlines on the newspapers around Nigeria. So yes, actually we're bringing it to you so you can also be a part of it. So when you see us on the street, jump on it and give us your opinion about today's headline. We are going to see the newspapers live from the streets of Port Harcourt. All right, without wasting much time, let's go ahead and see the headlines, what they look like for today. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. All right, let's begin with the Punch newspaper. Let's begin to see what the headlines look like on that very paper, being today the 5th day in the month of September 2023. And on the Punch, we have a headline from very top. It says, subsidy pains, Labour vows to ground economy, begins strike. Maritime bank workers, CSOs plan rally. Federal government begs NLC to shelve strike. All right, page 11 of the Punch newspaper is where you get details of that story. We also see here, reps summon 6 MDAs over federal government assets sale. Page 21 is where details of that story is. We move on to the main headline still on the Punch newspaper here, and it reads, presidential poll petitions, military, police warn protesters as Tribunal delivers verdict Wednesday. Also, as sub-headlines there, we see here, military, police vow to prevent violence. Tribunal proceedings for live telecast. Court orders workers to stay away. PDP, LP confident. APC promises to obey ruling. Interesting. All right, Nigerians are really anxious to know what the results of that judgment will sound like. So a lot of people out here on the street are saying, well, tomorrow I'm going to be out on the street, and if it doesn't favor my candidate, I'm going to be protesting. But well, the police is saying stay away to avoid trouble. All right, we're still on the Punch newspaper. Let's look at the very bottom strip of that paper here. We see 40 years after Buhari's suspension, Lagos Light Rail begins operations. All right, we see that story on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. So if you need to know what that means, please go to page 7 of the Punch to get details. We also see here, Enugu plans 60% funding for LG projects. Page 29 is where details of that story is. 8 policemen arrested in Rivers for extortion, assault. Page 5 is where the details is. And lastly, teachers shortage, poor facilities threaten Ebonyi, promising pupils future. All right, page 3 is where you get details of that story. All right, that's all the headlines we'll be taking from the Punch newspaper. In a very short while, we'll be speaking to people right here on the street on what their opinion feels like concerning these headlines. So don't go anywhere, keep watching as we take more headlines, and this time we are going to the Guardian newspaper for today, the 5th day in September. All right, on the Guardian here we have as headline, Tinubu's burden of resetting Nigeria in 100 days. Tinubu's burden of resetting Nigeria in 100 days. All right, and around that picture of Tinubu on the Guardian newspaper, you see fuel subsidy, foreign exchange liberalization, appointment of service chiefs, Befele's arrest and prosecution, EFCC boss removal, students loan scheme, dissolution of MDA's boards, appointment of ministers, Niger crisis, rising inflation, high fuel prices, bloated cabinet, spike in living costs, worsening FX crisis, rising poverty, shrinking household incomes. Wow, quite a lot the president has been handling within a very short term in office. All right, but then Nigerians are very hopeful, and they're hoping that he gets it right as the newest man in charge. Moving on to other headlines still on the Guardian here, we see very boldly here, bold reforms from Leave Bold reforms leave Nigerians more miserable amid assurances. And details is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. We also see here Gabon coup leader General Nguema sworn in as interim president. And page 2 is where you get details of that story. Also, apprehension as Labour begins warning strike. Court rules on presidential election. And just besides that, we see Sanwo-Olu flags up commercial operations of Lagos Blue Line Rail. All right, get details on page 5 of the Guardian newspaper. Tinubu not to blame, Buhari plunged economy into crisis, says Sanusi. All right, and also Owando acquires Egypt Nigeria's oil assets. Page 2 is where you get details of that story. And I'll take this last one. It says policemen nab colleagues for abduction, extortion in Rivers State. Very interesting story coming out of Rivers State there. And page 8 is where you get details of that story. So do well to pick up the Guardian newspaper. As we move on to our next paper, and that will be the Nation's newspaper. All right, we're still looking at the headlines, and this time we're going to the Nation's newspaper for today, the 5th day in the month of September. And on the Nation's here, from the very top, it says here, tolling of federal government highways to go on, says Umahi. All right, the new Minister of Works is saying that he's going to begin collecting tolls on federal government roads again. All right, interesting one. Very interesting story there. Please do well to go to page 29 of the Nation's newspaper. All right, we also see here, Owando acquires NAOC's upstream oil assets. And page 25 is where you get details. More insights into Tinubu's 100 days in office. Obaseki APC chair clash over Edo Council polls result. All right, do well to go to page 8 and 30 of the Nation's newspaper to get details of those stories. We see here also Tinubu Tribunal verdict on poll. Tinubu will be confident because OK's live telecast of Judgement. Nigerians can't really wait to get the final judgment as regards the Tribunal. All right, we see here CBN loan most expensive to service. Page 28 is where you get details of that story. 4 corps paraded over 6.5 million naira extortion. All right, we also see here as the main headline on the Nation, it says federal government TUC strike over subsidy pains not needed now. Strike over subsidy pains not needed now. NLC pushes ahead. Sean's meeting with minister. Wage award plan ready in 2 weeks. All right, go to page go to the Nation's newspaper to get details of that story, and you find details of that story on page 29. All right, we also see DSS warns plotters of violence. Story on page 28. All right, that's all the headlines we'll be taking from the papers for today. All right, so do well to also follow the stories and comment on the comment section. We want to hear what your opinion is about these headlines while we speak to people right here on the streets of Port Harcourt. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.
Hey there, are you looking to record your videos, do your voiceovers and take your professional pictures? Look no further. With our state-of-the-art newsroom, photography, kitchen for our food content creators, and exclusive children's studio, we certainly can deliver the best studio experience. Our carefully designed studio space can bring your diverse creative content ideas to life. We aim to consistently serve value to our customers far and wide. Come, let Tharv Media give life to your dreams. Tharv Media, a slice of infotainment.
All right, welcome back from that break. We're still on the streets of Port Harcourt doing the newspaper headlines, taking the reviews right here on the street. All right, I have this fine young man here with me. He wants to react to some of the headlines this very fine day. And you know, on the papers today, we saw the headlines as regard the labor strike that has begun around the nation. And in so many places around Port Harcourt are shut down, the banks are closed, and some government offices are also closed. And we also saw headlines regarding the tribunal verdict that is going to be announced announced tomorrow. So he wants to react to some of the stories. All right, sir, what's your opinion as regards those stories?
My opinion concerning Labour as a pressure group in a nation like this is that from Oshomole time, Oshomole Labour under Obasanjo was very active. But after Oshomole, Labour died, become a political party issue. So there is nobody pressuring any government again. Joy Ajiro, I don't know the current one. The former one is Joy Ajiro.
No, now it's Joe. Joe now.
Joy Ajiro now. The former one is
Ayuba.
Ayuba Waba. Ayuba Waba come during his own era. He play his own game. When he will call for strike, at the end of the day, by the 12 midnight, they will tell us that no, they have agreed with the government that there is nothing they can do again, that the government have agreed with them that they will do something. In more like 2 months again, they will still go back again and say they will call on strike again. So in that very group is also gone as I don't really see something they did.
So you don't believe in the Labour anymore?
I don't. No. This is not how Labour works. Labour should have be a helper to the masses. Like in time of all this suffering, hard policies the government is dishing, like cashless policy, COVID-19 time, like this election period. What they are doing, palliative this, palliative that. Even our electricity and so many other things that is poor in this country is not supplied very well. So they're supposed to be having putting pressure on government to do these things. Because we know when Labour come out, they always come, it is not a political party. It is something that everybody, they are working for all Labours as a union. They work for me. They work for everybody. It's something that when they come out, that the people will believe on what they are saying, and the government will. When they talk, at least the government will be shivering, yes, and they can change some kind of their method of their leadership. But I don't see it happening. Even this one, they are saying they are telling us 2 days warning strike. I know by tomorrow morning something may happen again. And they tell us, sorry, we have go to the government and we have agreed. Even as Simon Lalong have told them that he's just entering office, that they need to give him some time. That is not an excuse. Government is a continuity. You must continue. But I don't see Labour doing any of those things. So I don't even trust Labour. I don't trust them in any way.
The federal government said that the Labour shouldn't go on strike because they feel that Nigerians are suffering already. And so the strike will further plunge Nigerians into more suffering. That's the federal government position. And they have tried to intervene. Remember, they called the labor unions to for a meeting yesterday, which they refused. And so here we are with the strike. Do you agree with the federal government's position of Nigerians going into more suffering because of the labor's position?
What suffering have we not passed through? Nigeria as a citizen is a patient people on the whole planet Earth. There is no other nation that will endure what Nigeria endure, and Nigeria will still remain the same. We are a very patient people. They can't tell us, government cannot tell us that they are going to plunge us into another suffering. No. It can't happen.
We are already inside.
We are already suffering already now. Along the street, before I went to Los now, you know how many people that will beg you for just a common biscuit. You don't even have money to go to a state now, to travel to interstate now. You know how much it costs. What suffering again are they calling? Which suffering again? Are we not in suffering already? So if actually they will put pressure on government to do something and we solve this problem once and for all, it will be okay. But I doubt.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Before you go, sir, let's talk about the tribunal verdict for tomorrow. What are your expectations? The case has been on since after the election.
This issue is the issue that is already in court. This issue, you can't preempt the issue that is in court. But I know in this nation, I don't see the judges being bold enough to say the right thing. If only they can be bold enough to save themselves for the shame, because they have already been so slave to the politicians. So I don't see them doing much. I don't see they can't do otherwise. I don't see them doing otherwise. I don't see them doing otherwise. But let's wait till tomorrow. Whatever that come up, we are used to it.
All right, I want to thank you so much for your contributions. Very meaningful contribution. Thank you so much, sir. All right, we're still taking reactions as regarding the headlines right here on the streets of Port Harcourt. And here with me is Chuks Emmanuel, and he's going to be reacting to some of the headlines. All right, Chuks, which headline are you reacting to today?
Yeah, tomorrow verdict, according to the paper, is what we've been spending over the months. And I didn't know why it's delayed over this time. Yeah. We all came out as in Nigeria, unity, to elect for the very first time the person who wants to lead the nation. But unfortunately, the reverse was the case. Another month we've been waiting for this verdict. So I am so happy that by tomorrow we will get the verdict of the election, of which Nigerians, for the first time, even those who rebel against assigning their own franchise for the first time, came out in mass to assign their franchise on that very day. But to our own surprise and shock, things were overturned. And today, the youths are angry because we were not given what we expected. And what calmed the youth was the fact that the other man was like, "Push should calm down. He's going to use legal means to go through the whole process." And now that we are still waiting for all eyes are on judiciary. We want to see the outcome of tomorrow, and that will actually position the youths.
Okay, so interesting. All right, interesting position. But then I'm going to ask you, as a Nigerian, considering, or would you? I want to say that would you accept the verdict, no matter what it is, whether it favors your candidate or not? Would you accept it? Would you trust the judges to have given a perfect judgment?
The way to prosperity of the nation is peace. And if the system wants to have peace as a nation, we should do the right thing. That thing should be done, because we are suffering and smiling in the country where God has so blessed. We are so blessed. So many guys on the streets doing the job that is available, not the kind of job they wanted to do. Not to succeed, not to avoid social crimes. We are into many things. I'm also a victim. So if the system is in place, things are working, we won't have this violence. But they are pushing us to go into violence. Now they are warning, the security agencies are warning against violent protesters, reactions. But they are the ones behind any evil misbehavior of the youths. If they do the right thing, if by tomorrow they give the country what they expected to hear, there will be no violence. But if they don't, they will be forced to come out, and we will come out.
Okay, so that's why I asked you, considering the verdict tomorrow, whether it is to your own advantage or not, will you accept it?
Not to my own, to ours. Okay. Because I'm speaking as a family now. Like I said earlier, for the first time, I was shocked in my own polling unit. Those I have not seen for more than 10 years. On the subsequent election, I have not seen them. But their names were there. But for the first time they came out, I was like, all these people, are they part of this? We say they are part of them. The number of about 500 people in a unit. Over the years, about 20, 30, but this time about 400, 600. So they came out for something. They were aiming at something. So if only, like I said, the system, the cabals, peace, do the right.
Thank you very much, Chuks, for talking to us. All right, it's been an absolute interesting time here on the streets of Port Harcourt. We've spoken to a few persons as regard the reactions concerning the newspaper headlines for today. And of course, don't forget that you're also part of this program, so drop your comments and reactions on the comment section. Let's also know what you think about these headlines. So we'll be doing this every other day, so catch us close to you around your neighborhood. Catch us here live on the streets of Port Harcourt. From me, Williams Abule, this has been the Newspaper Review. I'll see you next time.